What a pleasant way to start the show this evening, wherever you are. This is the Deep National Hour program. DEEP is the Democracy and Empowerment for Civil Rights nationalistic organization propagating the true sense of nationalism and the call to national duties. Deep goal is to Liberianize Liberia and ensure Liberia becomes an industrialized state with its citizens being economically empowered irrespective of their tribe, educational background, political affiliation, religions, etc. So we will be talking today on some very important components of our society, looking at the elements of a good society. Um, Liberia, from its existence, looking at the Quantum Empire or Kingdom, that was something around 400 years before we came to our 1822 history of the Commonwealth, and later came to our republic in 1847. So it means that we have a long history that we have not taken time to write on. Neither have we also investigated some of the good things that we may have experienced during the time of our history, looking at more than 200 years of existence and a full independence, talking about 176 years. It means that there should be something we call history of ourselves, lesson learned, those prospects that we have, those deficiency, those things that undermine the democracy that we have today, and how can we improve our society? This thing boiled down to a country that should be civilized and be able to set what we call a national agenda. That national agenda is the driving force that a country will carry, and every citizen will be schooled to know their responsibility, obligation to the country and to themselves. So, in that line, you'll be able to build a nationalistic society that will support the general interest of the country. People will be able to stand up for each other. The country will be able to work for not just the good of the current generation, but the future generation. But because a country that have existed, that have not investigated itself, have not seen the rationale in studying itself, because like a famous philosopher said, that an unexamined life is not worth living. And Liberia is a classic example of a nation that does not examine itself. Every major research that takes place in this country is being subsidized or sponsored by the international firm or the country that wants to know something about Liberia, but the country itself doesn't ever choose, I know, to go in the route of learning to know, are there some things that are fundamentally wrong about how we conduct ourselves, for which we are unable to even unify our own country and to set our country on a proper course of economic development? Or we just exist as a country, one leadership to another leadership. And because politicians enjoy the limitation of the society, so they see it as a privilege for them to have a society that doesn't investigate, or does not have a strong ambition, does not have a sense of direction. Sorry to say that will be a bit strong, but that is the reality. So you see that you have a divided society. Then practices or theories of Machiavelli's will now start creeping in, where you have things then like the divide and rule. As long as the society is not existing as a homogeneous nationalistic society, you will always see that people who have those syndicate motive will always use whatever they have at their disposal to make maximum gain for their benefits. And that would not be a nationalistic benefit or a patriotic benefit. Again, this is the Deep National Hour program. I'm Dr. Ibrahim Dasamasi the first. I'm the executive director. You can follow us up on our page. That is the Deep National Hour Facebook page to be able to follow us up in relation to our programs, so that you can see some of the presentation we have, or the past years we have been in and around for a lot of years now, advocating, trying to build a sense of nationalism in Liberians. A country that does not define a set course of action can be taken for granted. We were looking at elements of a good society, and to even put it much more in deep context, to say element of a nationalistic society. All right. There are fundamental things in this country we have not yet grappled with. For example, we really don't understand or take the importance of protecting our identity, what we call national identity. Things like the flag. You can host a flag today, and everybody can just move like number people. The respect during those days when we were coming up. Anytime flags being placed up, you see Eagle Star, bicycle, which are done much more, bikes are around, but people will stand up in reference, in allegiance to the flag, respecting the country, because the flag symbolizes a group of people that live as a country state or a society state. But unfortunately, in Liberia, we do not regard even our flag. So people can do anything to the flag. Government ministry and agency, we have flag flying over the building, dirty, torn up, and still keep it because it doesn't mean anything to them. But in I know a more sociological or political interpretation, it points to the fact that that country is a terrible country with corrupt officials. Dirty flag will always point to corrupt official. So if you enter a court and you see the flag is dirty, you should know that corruption is in that court. It means that judge is prepared to compromise cases and open his or her jaw to put money in it. You see them dialoguing with lawyers in open, and sometimes they walk from the judge seat into some office, and when they come back, you don't get no hair tape from that identical case, creating a scene, or building a mindset in the people that you cannot trust our legal jurisprudence. And it is unfortunate that because the country has not been built to be nationalistic, they accept these things and count on few individuals to correct it, instead of the country standing up and correcting these few corrupt individuals serving in prominent offices. Now, a nation that exists, okay, if you should understand the elements of the nation, it means that the nation should have shared norms, okay, values, beliefs, attitudes. Now, what are our norms? What are those practices that Liberians uphold? Those things that Liberians know that we cannot accept, or those things that we can accept as acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior. The reason why we always find ourselves experiencing social crisis, because there are two fundamental factors that are formed in social crisis. Those are socialization and civilization. When you look at socialization, you look at those acceptable and unacceptable behavior patterns. And when you come to Liberia, almost everything is possible in this country. It means gangsters can freely walk in the street, and they can have equal rights and privileges to every other thing, like this in the person who obeys the law. You drive on the road, like on my way up here, you will see that when you are parked in line driving on the road, others will take the opposite lane and you go scot free. It means that we don't have any shared norms. We don't have standards. We don't have practices that our children can be taught. So at the end of the day, even some of us that mount this platform, we use invectives, we use word description, and denigrate people that we should be protecting for the good of the country. Okay? Yes, you will have government that is incompetent. Okay, yes, we know that this government is not a pro professional government. Yes, that is clear. Waka, we have a little advantage over George Weah, who was grossly incompetent. Yes, we know that. But you cannot go to the extreme to start laboring the government or the individual there, to a name of nomenclature that will undermine the sanity of this country. And those things boil down to a country that does not have share norms, does not have practices. Every society should have a cultural standard. The cultural standard will perpetrate two major things, and that is the values and morals. Do we have values and morals in our society? Are the younger ones respecting the older ones? Do the younger ones know their limitation? Do we have the older ones that are coming up and are serving as role model for the younger ones? Or we have an entire society that, as the younger ones are misbehaving, the older ones are also misbehaving, and you have those ones who like training. We have to become today, tomorrow they become parents, and they will bring another group of hooligans that will not be able to have a society that will be graded or rated as being a civilized society. And our government does not really care. You're having a serious generational problem that is coming. If the current generation is not trained, is not disciplined, is not put in a position where they understand the importance of obedience, adherence to laws and practices, to norms, they too become parents. They have a loose generation. You can never crack down on people, the Zogo rate getting larger when there are no programs being institutionalized by government to ensure that those that are not even in that group are being taught not to get there. But you have a loose, weak educational sector that does not build its pillar on culture, on the norms and values of a society. We have not yet built one in our society. That's the reason why I would say if this country should make any positive change, impact, and it should be aligned in Africa, it means you need a strong nationalist, radical educator that is prepared to take actions that would take the entire steering from where it is going to where it should be going. A leader that will be able to set standards, a leader that will be able to bring our nationalistic agenda that will incorporate the 15 ethnic groups of our society and place them in a position where they can be able to understand that the cohesive nature, homogeneous nature of any society depends on how the people conduct themselves. And if everybody will be self-centered, egoistic, you will see that you have that egocentric behavior will never carry this country anywhere. When people can do things and go scot-free, it means that the country has no norms, has no values. People who are serving in position that have its own value, like being a police officer is a reputable position. As a police officer, it means that you are there to ensure that the laws are being adhered to. It means compliance should be the order of the day. But police officer, most especially on the street, spend that time taking money, whether your car lesson is regularized, everything in your car is okay. They will stop you only to ask you for money in the open. It means there is no value when it comes to the profession. Okay, you go to the police station. At least they are trying a little bit because the police station always used to be very dirty, very stink. And I know a couple of them stay dirty, some of them stay stink, but I know I see that one or two police stations are trying, and it's good for the IG to make that place a pleasant area to be, rather than having, the smell alone can prevent any sanity in relation to humanity in the entire environment. Okay, but let's come to the major point. Why can we add our, say, a society, a good society must have values. Lawyers should put some standards in themselves. Should stop trying to see how to get start money from clients where they know that clients will not go anywhere in that case, and playing double standard with people cases until people are now resolving to taking matters in their own hands. I had a situation where I had to call the CO5 like last night, and it took more than an hour only to get in touch with another person that was referenced, and the person said, "I'm a female. No other. We don't have other security. Only two female. Yeah, no manpower." It was completely disheartening. Okay, completely disheartening. 176 years of existence, you can have anything immediately attended to. You have a sick person. You think that you in a country that is a civilized country, that ambulance will come to you quickly and they'll get your patient again. That's a lie. That's not Liberia. Okay. You have serious crisis, you think you can call the police to come there. That's a lie. That's not Liberia. Okay. Look at what happened at the that was, I think, the speaker's house. I was watching it on Facebook. Fire sellers went there. Look, guys were completely reckless. Completely reckless. I was just looking at them, people passing around, turning around, and there was no urgency in them. You could see, you see how they were much more eager, to ensure that a property is being saved, preserved. And you look at the other side of the coin, these are all officials who should ensure that these guys work. So because we don't have the norms and values in our society, people are very much like a Jessica when they are doing things that they should not be. Everybody wants to get salary, everyone wants to get paid, but are we actually doing the work? Because let me tell you, the essence of having government is to have people who meet the criteria to enter. That's why we set up something like a civil service agency that go for the best brain using a practice called meritocracy. Okay? Meritocracy. So you look for the best brain in the society to serve the general society. So if you have people, look, the later that you have, the more efficient you are and you're effective in that particular thing, it tells the society that if you get better or more, you will perform high. But I was completely saddened, completely disappointed when I saw the guys then operating as fire service, and you see them turning around, they spend all long hours, they don't care whether some of my property was burning. Regardless of he being an official of government, that is something terrible. It is disgraceful for a country that have over 200 years of existence. It's so saddening. Okay, very saddening. We have not reached anywhere. You look, when you go to the hospital, we have not even reached the level that when you go to the hospital, you see nurses that are urgency and exist with them, like they have gotten some training that they can rush to attend to a given patient. You don't see that. We don't see a professional body here. Government officials, you go to government offices, you see those guys that take their own time to respond to people, that do things the way they want to do things. You are sitting there, a young lady that's being paid to do a given service. Look, let me tell you, if you should go through, the UN had a report once upon a time on performance from government worker and private worker. You would know that private workers work far better than government workers. Far better. In the private sector, accountability is hard. Performance, grading is hard. Evaluation of your performance is hard. In the government sector, it's a completely reckless environment. You can have it like that. Those of you who have read public administration, you know When you want to classify our system of government here, they mean talking about a small system. Because people are much more loyal to the political party, the individual who brought them in, and all kind of nonsense take place in government. Meritocracies. I'm not meritocracy about the SPOR system in public administration. And that is bad. That is saddening. Okay? You will never be successful as a nation when you have a SPOR public sector. You have all those anti-grav and whatsoever institutions existing, and there is no check and balance, there is no investigation, nobody scrutinizing each bureau or ministry to make sure that people are performing. How do you expect them to meet expectation? How do you? Okay, there should be a bureau set that should be there to investigate how lawyers conduct themselves, judges conduct themselves, ministers and directors, investigate them so that we can have better performances out there. But when you have poor performances coming out of government and administration agency, you think, are you serious about transforming this country? That's a lie. That's the reason why you see officials of government comes out and just lie. Because they know nobody will hold them accountable for their statement. Nobody holds them accountable. And people are not loyal to the country, even the citizens themselves, they are not loyal to their own country. Baka miserably failed for his 100 days. He will not admit it. His supporter will defend him. They don't care whether it hurts the country or not. Who cares? Opposition also do not care about the country image. They care about castigating him, his government, to get political relevance. So it's just like a dog-eat-dog stuff, around here. All right, everybody just want to score political point, not for the good of the country, no, because they themselves are there and mess up. So they use the inability or the lapse of deficiency of the another government to their advantage. This government is poorly calculating its steps, taking action, and have to go back over it. No, there are things that we set as a country. And if we set standards in those things, then the society will perform better. But if the government is poorly acting, poorly thinking, the society will always poorly act and poorly think. We are not building a strong society. No, that is not happening around. Nobody has interest in building a strong society. Okay, what set of attitude have we adapted as Liberians? I was talking about the issue of national identity. Are we protecting our flag? Are we protecting our passport? Are we fighting to protect our voting cards? We can protect the vote of a political party. But anybody can get a voting card in this country. Anybody can get the citizen ID card in the country. We don't care. We don't think about protecting those things. A country that is more loyal to individual than the country, that country never succeeds. That's the reason why all the poor countries in the world are always poorly educated nations. These are always poor countries. Because when you understand what it means to exist as a nation, there are things that we accept. We will never, ever accept it. I told you before. You know, the Liberian society is a very, very weak society. People are not being taught to be strong, to be focused. We talk about the issue of the flag of our country. If we're actually holding up to the red, that particular color in our flag, we get red, white, and blue. We said there are 29 countries that carry that red, white, and blue. And among those 29 countries, Liberia is the least. And Liberia does not represent those colors when it comes to the true meaning. Because if you talk about red, it means the society is prepared to fight and stand up to ensure that the right things are done in this country. But everybody takes Liberian for granted, including your own politicians. Everybody takes Liberian. You will get laws on the books. telling I know former businesses how much to pay librarians. They will not pay librarians. They know nothing will come out of it. Foreigner will insult you and tell you all kind of things in your face. They know nothing will come out of it. You're not serious group of people until you stand up to make people to understand that you cannot eat everything for the raw. You are always like a puppet to them. No successful nation is made out of weak generation, weak people. Those people should have norms, should have values, should have belief, should have set of attitudes. They stand for something. That's why you get blue, that blue of bravery. You see, all those big international firms, the EU and World Bank and what's the other thing, ECOWAS, AU. You see that blue, justice and bravery. Those things are complementary things that go along with success. Do we do them in our society? No, no. Everybody believe in themselves. Individualistic attitude is hard. But one thing I can tell you that there is a time that is not too far that a leader will have to stand up to revolutionize this country, make people to stand up for what it means to be citizen of a given nation. And that time is not too far. That a radical, nationalist, educated, experienced leader will stand up for the good of this country, for the good and the bad, and ensure that the children to come will not walk in what we have met. That day is not far. Again, I'm Dr. Ibrahim Dassaman the first. I'm the Executive Director of the Democratic Empowerment for Economic Progress. We highly appreciate for you to follow us up on our Deep National Hour program and see how you can be a part of this movement. Until we meet again, God bless you, and we'll be here to raise that leader that will transform this country as a true nationalist. It's not too far. God bless you. Until we meet again, I'm Dr. Ibrahim Dassama Seyu the first of Deep. Thank you.